I'm Gary MacDonald. Monday, May 10th is municipal election day in Saint John, with incumbent Mayor Don Darling announcing some time ago he would not offer for a second term. 4 people have declared their intention to seek the position. Donna Reardon is one of those candidates. Join me now for a conversation with her about her goals for and commitment to Saint John. You're running for mayor after spending 2 terms around the council horseshoe as a councillor. Why are you doing this and why now?
2.25 terms, 9 years. Because over these last 9 years, I have seen a real change in Saint John. I've seen a change in attitudes. I've seen some, I believe, from the trenches, and I don't know if it's as visible. I think it is to citizens. I think they feel that. But from the trenches, I've seen us turn that corner. So last year when Don said he wasn't going to reoffer, I thought about it then. And then this year going forward, so I've had sort of a year to think about it. And at the end of the day, we've done a lot of hard work. We've done a lot of heavy lifting. We've made a lot of very difficult decisions. So my options were to, I guess, stay where I was, pack it in, or move to the next level. And with the momentum that I'm feeling, it just seemed right to move to that next level. So that's why I'm here. I want to continue on with, if you like what you see happening, I want to make sure that it continues.
And you have that advantage of being around the table for the 2 terms, being a part of the heavy lifting process. But some would say that might bring with it some political baggage because some of the decisions made were not quite as popular as others. Do you feel that?
Well, that's fair ball at the end of the day. Everybody looks at those decisions that need to be made through their own lens. And as a counselor, I have to take into account the information that I'm receiving from staff, but then I also need to look at what's, best for the city. I need to look at the individual neighborhoods where some of that change is happening. I need to take a lot of things into account. I need to do some of my own homework at the end of the day. And then I need to make the best decision based on as much information as I can get going forward. And my ultimate responsibility, really, even though the wards do tend to make us somewhat parochial, and I do love the ward system, really at the end of the day, our hat is really on for Saint John. What's best for the entity of Saint John? How do we move Saint John as a whole forward? How do we look at it holistically? So yeah, I don't disagree that there have been decisions that have been made that are not popular, and they haven't been easy to make. So, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to navigate this financial crisis that we've been in. That I feel now that we have turned that corner, we can start looking on another path now going forward.
And is that a concern that you have in the fact that you could have an entirely new slate of people sitting around the table, and all of a sudden they branch off from that strategic financial plan that's been hammered out?
Well, I guess what's happened is we've put a lot of policies in, and we've made a lot of decisions, etc. A lot of them are just best practices in the financial world and in the municipal world. So it wouldn't be wise going down that road to just try to change gears. The other thing is I could get a whole new council. Mel Norton had a whole new council. Basically, he had 8 new people, and then Jerry Lowe came on a year later. And Mel had a real opportunity to build a team with that because we were all new, and we didn't have that headset where we were used to doing business a certain way. So with that, he just said, we're done with a comedy council. We're moving on to a classy council. So I think it's all about team building, really, is when you get your new members. There are 4 seats available at council and the mayor's seat. So 40% of your council will be new. And it's just building that team. And then that team needs to make those decisions and set those priorities and move the city forward. It shouldn't be what one person trying to manipulate, I guess, a group to go a certain way.
Let's look at your platform. Give me 3 key planks from your platform.
3 key planks. Well, I'm all about growth, and I want to continue growth. But what I say in my platform is I want growth to be integrated. I want it to be strategic, and I want it to be integrated with quality of life for people. So quality of life is another huge issue for me. I'm big with transit. I guess I look at transit differently because I've been on that team for 9 years. And I look at that and I say it can be used for so many things, not only for transportation of people, but there's a green component to it. It could drive, if you use it properly, it can drive development in your city based on where you send your transit system. So there's that. It's a tool for growth as well. There are lots of people the younger people today, what we're finding, don't want to own a car or buy a car. So what they want to do is they want to take public transportation, and they're used to doing that. And of course, tax reform. I mean, that's a big one for everyone. So how do we continue down that road, looking for that tax reform that we want? We know that we keep 100% of the residential taxes. But Saint John is your business and industrial center as well. We keep 55% of that tax. Anyone who has a tax bill recognizes that there's a provincial component that you don't pay if it's your residence, and you would pay if it isn't. So it's that other 45% that the province is collecting that we'd like to get a bigger share of that as well, because it comes back to us in the unconditional grant via about $17,000 a year. We sort of figure it's around 17 million a year. We figure it's about 47 million that's collected. And there are costs with being the city's, there's costs with being the province's economic engine to a certain extent. I mean, you have roads, and lots of other services that you would need to maintain to support business and industry. So we want some recognition for that. I'll give you a fourth one, is that it's regional cooperation and regional sharing of services. That's another big one. I think any group is stronger as a group. So if we could get together, the greater Saint John area, and we could, move together as a team, I think that's so important for us. If Saint John wants to be successful, there's so many partnerships that we need to. We've got the province that are partners, the feds, we've got the port down the street here. You've got the greater Saint John area that's partners. You have other business that's partners. There are so many partners. We need to strengthen our partnerships.
In your platform too, you mentioned about having an inclusive and diverse city. How does the municipality move forward on those levels?
Well, I guess for that, what I would say, and I've been reading and thinking a lot about that. So how do we recognize our biases, and how do we unlearn our biases to a certain extent? But the way I think we could do that is we need to always keep that lens on everything that we do. We need to be looking at that through that lens and be cognizant of that as we go forward. So I think, and also normalizing the conversation around that. I mean, it's kind of like something that I'm hearing about in city leadership. I don't know if the citizen on the street is hearing that much about it, but I think it's trying to normalize that conversation and get a little bit of information out to the public about that. Would be, to me, a start. And you're not going to solve that on your own. We won't solve that on our own. We need partners to solve that with. And there are, the communities, the minority communities that we can partnership to solve some of that. So I think there are some real opportunities there, but you have to be aware of, and you have to make sure you understand where you want to go with that.
You mentioned earlier about the tough decisions that had to be made to right the financial ship. And one of the most emotional decisions, anyway, that seems to come up for discussion on social media and elsewhere, the decision to cut budgets in the police and fire services. What sort of feedback are you getting now as you're in the campaign mode? And would you revisit those cuts? As a new council, would you encourage revisiting those cuts at this stage?
I am getting some feedback on that for sure. Those cuts were made. We didn't just take a machete and cut essential services. We looked at everything. We asked our city manager when we hired him 2 years ago in January, we said, we want to be sustainable. And he said, that's what I'm going to work towards. So we have turned over every rock to look for those savings to cut that deficit out of our budget. We knew we needed to cut 10 million out of the budget because the province has promised to look at tax reform in 23. So in 21 and 22, we needed to get that budget under control. We can't run with a deficit. We're not like the province or the feds. So as far as revisiting those specific decisions, no, I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, what we need to do is we move forward. Then we can look at what do we have for money? What do we need for essential services? We just a couple of councils ago, we put out, we authorized the money for a report on fire to see. So what we've asked them to look at is what are best practices currently, what can we afford, and what are our risks. So that report will come back with those three. So that will guide us as we go forward. We've done asset mapping. And so we're looking at all our assets. We're looking at the depreciation of those assets. And then that's guiding us for investment. So do you want to keep your asset? Do you want to divest yourself of that asset? What do you want to do with that? So we're trying to use more strategic methods and information and data for spending our money, our little bit of money that we have. Now, if you get growth, then that's a different picture. And where you'll go from there, I don't know. But right now we have what we have, and that was difficult to get to where we are. So I can't see revisiting those decisions right now.
Are you feeling any pressure from the firefighters union and the police association?
I haven't had a real chance to chat with those. Those are partners for us as well. Fire and police, they're strong unions, and we need their voice behind us as well as we go to the province for tax reform. So I want to work with fire and police to come to the best solution that we can. I don't know what that is. And like I said, revisiting the closing of a fire station, I don't have the data yet back from that report. So we'll see what that brings back. But I need to work with those partners, and I want to work with those partners. I want to build those relationships because we need that. We need their voice going forward. There's a lot of them that are citizens of Saint John, and I'll be their mayor as well. So definitely want to build those partnerships.
You're doing a rather unique campaign, not really door to door because of the pandemic, but you're walking through neighborhoods with your sign, and you're posting a lot of pictures on social media as you do this. Are you getting a better sense for the city itself as you do that? Has this been a productive exercise for you?
It absolutely has been. The world is different on foot than in a vehicle. And you get to see all kinds of interesting things. You get to visit little parks. You get to stop at those parks. You get to, you meet people on the route. It's been really a wonderful experience. And it's sort of a great time of year to do it because it's just starting to warm up a little bit. But it's still cool enough for walking. If you're going to put in a couple of hours a day walking, at least I am getting a little bit overheated with it all. But no, it's been a wonderful experience, really.
And when you're meeting those residents, what are they saying to you?
When I meet those residents, listen, some of them have some hard questions for me. And some of them are very supportive and just want to chat about the neighborhood. I found in the North End, more of the people are very protective of their neighborhood and want to tell me about, all the wonderful things in their neighborhood, because I think the North End tends to get a little bit of a bad rap, and very defensive of their neighborhood. And it's been really wonderful to see. And like I said, sometimes I get good, some difficult questions, and sometimes get a lot of beeps and waves just from vehicles. But no, the people have been very supportive going, as I've met them in their neighborhoods.
One final question. Are you committed to serving a full 4-year term if elected as mayor?
That's an interesting question, Gary. I'm going to say yes to that, because unless I drop dead through this term, I plan on being there. I guess some people do use this as a springboard to another. That's not for me. I'll say that right up front. I've always said that that is not for me. Provincial, federal is not for me. I don't want to have to toe a party line, period. And I love this level of government, because I do what I want. I say what I want, and I'm not harnessed to anyone's opinion but my own. I do my homework, and then away I go, and I try to make the best decisions at the end of the day that I can with the information that I have. So no, I'm not going anywhere unless fate intervenes. I'm getting to that age where, anything could happen in 4 years.
Donna Reardon, thank you for taking the time out to speak with us today.
My pleasure, Gary. Thanks.
Donna Reardon is one of 4 candidates for mayor of Saint John. Our conversation with candidate Mel Vincent is also available on the newsysj.ca website and YouTube channel. Candidate Daryl Bastarash did not accept our invitation for an interview, while Howard Yeomans indicated he would like to take part, but he didn't have access to Zoom or Skype for the interview. I'm Gary Matt Donald. Thank you for watching.